Hi, to anyone watching this video today, I'll be um, demonstrating how a refrigeration cycle does work for a refrigerator. So here I drew out the mechanical parts, which is the compressor, the condenser, the filter dryer. You could say this is the metering device, known as also you could say is a capillary tube. And this here is the evaporator, and this here is the household fridge. So how this does work: refrigerant does suck into the compressor, and the compressor does pressurize the refrigerant and discharge it into the discharge line. So this here is the discharge line. This line here, this line does go all the way and connect to here, as connect to here, which is the condenser. When the refrigerant when it flow through the discharge line, it flowing through as a high temperature, high pressure vapor. As it make its way through, I'm just draw the line quick. As it make its way through as it enter the condenser, at 90% vapor and 10% liquid at 110 degrees. As it making its way through the condenser, let's say about halfway through the condenser, it turn into 50% vapor and 50% liquid. So it's starting to make a saturation around right here. As it make its way 3/4 through the condenser, it turn into 75% liquid and 25% vapor. So remember the temperature it enter at 110. So it's still at 110 degrees as it reach its way 3/4 through the condenser. As it making its way out the condenser, it turn into 100% liquid at 100 degrees. So the temperature it enter the condenser at 110 and the temperature it exit the condenser is 110. So that means the condenser cool down refrigerant. So that is called subcooling. It enter at a set temperature and it cool down at 10 degrees, which is 100. It cool 10 degrees, so that's why it's called subcooling. So as it exit the condenser, it make its way through the filter dryer, and the purpose of the filter dryer is to take up any particles that pass through the refrigerant or any saturation. It take up some of that. As it make its way through the filter dryer, that's when it go into the metering device. The job of the metering device is to cool down the refrigerant. So it exit, as it make its way through the metering device, it cooling the refrigerant as it go through, and it exit as a low temperature, low pressure. And that's when it make its way through, that's when it make its way and go straight into the evaporator. The job of the evaporator is to cool the fridge inside, is to cool the fridge. So it also does absorb the heat inside the fridge with the help of the fan. So you just have a fan inside your fridge, inside the freezer part. What the fan does do, the fan is just suck the air out the fridge and pass it through the evaporator, and then the air pass through the evaporator, then come back into the fridge, and that's how your fridge is cool. So what the evaporator does is just cool the fridge inside, and the temperature is enter here is as a low temperature, low pressure at, let's say, 45 degrees, and it is do a superheat cycle, which is when the refrigerant entered 45 degrees here, it will cool down to about, it will, the temperature, not cool down, the temperature will raise to about 50 or 55 degrees as it make its way, because it absorbing the heat from inside. So as it make its way through the coils in the evaporator, the temperature is rising. So let's say it make its way, it enter through at 45 and it will exit as probably about, let me say, 50 or 55 degrees, and it make its way down to the suction line. So I'll just draw the line. So this here is a suction line. It make its way down and it enter back into the compressor in the suction line as low temperature, low pressure. And that's when the whole cycle repeats again.